Give it 10 seconds the next time you head out to your car and really look at your tires. Forget the tread for a moment and study the sidewall instead. If it looks gray, dull, or smeared with that grubby brown haze, what I am about to explain will flip everything you believe about caring for rubber. That brown coating you keep scouring away every Saturday is not rot or decay. It is your tire fighting to stay alive, and the $12 bottle of shine you grabbed at the store is quietly eating away at that rubber from the inside. I am going to walk you through the precise chemistry unfolding on your sidewalls, why tire engineers built it to behave that way, and the $3 drugstore item that outperforms anything stocked in the auto aisle. Let me lay out what is actually happening to your rubber. A modern tire is formulated with defensive chemicals known as antiozonants and antioxidants. Far from being cheap padding, these are costly compounds that manufacturers deliberately blend in to battle rubber's two worst foes: ultraviolet light pouring down from the sun and ozone floating in the air. While your tires bake in daylight, those protective agents gradually creep out from deep within the rubber toward the surface. Once they arrive, they collide with oxygen and ozone and leave behind a brown, waxy film. There is a proper term for that color. It is called blooming, and it signals that the tire is busy shielding itself from environmental harm. That is not a defect. That is engineering on purpose. Bridgestone, Michelin, Goodyear, and the other big names have all released technical papers describing exactly this. Their phrase for it is sacrificial protection. The antiozonants travel outward, react with the damaging stuff in the air, and build a thin shielding layer that blocks those attackers from reaching the rubber underneath. In plain terms, that brown film is the tire's immune response in action. So when you miss shine across the sidewall and watch the brown vanish in moments, exposing slick black rubber beneath, what really took place? You did not clean a thing. You tore off the tire's built-in armor. Most off-the-shelf dressings, particularly the glossy wet look kind everybody adores, are based on petroleum distillates and silicone oils. Crack open the safety data sheets, which I did across roughly 15 brands, and you will spot ingredients like naphtha, mineral spirits, dimethicone, and cyclomethicone. Those are solvents paired with coating agents. The solvents melt that brown shielding layer on contact, which is precisely why the rubber flashes jet black so fast. It looks stunning, but you have just torn out the tire's defense system. Then what? The silicone oils smear a glossy skin across the sidewall, and here lies the catch. Silicone molecules are enormous next to the porous makeup of vulcanized rubber. They simply cannot squeeze in. Because they never get inside, they cannot condition anything. They merely perch on the surface like a coat of wax. For maybe 48 hours, your tires look unreal. Deep, glossy, soaking black. Then the truth arrives. The film begins to disintegrate. Out on the highway, centrifugal force flings beads of silicone across your paintwork, into the wheel wells, onto the brake calipers. It draws dust like a magnet and rain rinses it off. 7 days on, the tires look rougher than when you began, because the natural shield is gone and the fake coating has vanished too. So you spray it on again and again and again. None of that is accidental. It is a business model. Tire dressing is a multi-hundred-million-dollar industry engineered around repeat sales. The trick is to dazzle for a couple of days, fade quickly, and pull the buyer back for more. I am not trying to torch the whole detailing world. Genuine, high-grade products do exist, made by folks who actually care about rubber lasting. But the bargain stuff lining gas stations and big box shelves is tuned for instant looks and fast repurchasing. Not for safeguarding the $400 investment riding on each corner of your car. Here is where it turns fascinating. There is a substance that people have leaned on for more than 200 years. A Swedish chemist named Carl Wilhelm Scheele first isolated it back in 1779. It shows up in medicine, food, skincare, and heavy industry alike. One single ingredient, no logos, no hype, no famous faces selling it, just honest chemistry. It is glycerin, vegetable glycerin in particular, and it rewrites the entire idea of how conditioning a tire ought to work. Here is the reason it counts. Glycerin is a humectant, meaning it draws in and holds onto moisture from the surrounding air. Even better, at the molecular scale, it is tiny enough to slip into the microporous lattice of vulcanized rubber. There is peer-reviewed work backing this up. Research in the Journal of Applied Polymer Science demonstrates that glycerol, the formal name for glycerin, behaves as a gentle plasticizer inside rubber compounds. Put simply, it does not merely sit on the outside. It works its way into the polymer network and helps return flexibility by engaging the rubber chains directly. Rather than stripping the shield and brushing on a fleeting gloss, you are nourishing the rubber from within. Different mechanism entirely, different outcome entirely. Now I can guess your next thought. If this is so effective, why is everyone not already on it? Two reasons. The first is that it does not look great on camera. Glycerin lends a natural satin tone, not a streaming mirror wet shine. In an era ruled by Instagram and car show culture, satin earns no clicks. Wet gloss sells. The second reason is money. There is zero margin in urging people to grab $3 glycerin off a Walgreens shelf. A shine company cannot wrap a brand around an unpatentable everyday chemical, so it stays quiet about it. But the evidence is real, and I am about to show you precisely how to put it to work. Before any application, though, we have to cover prep, and this is the step where most people stumble and then fault the product. If you have been slathering on commercial shine for months or years, a silicone film has accumulated on your sidewalls. You cannot see it, yet it is right there. Leave it in place, and glycerin has no way through the rubber. You would just be laying humectant over silicone, and nothing happens. So here is how to decontaminate. Get a stiff bristled tire brush, not a soft detailing one, a genuinely stiff brush. You need real scrubbing force. Combine plain dish soap, Dawn or any grease-cutting kind with warm water in a bucket. Scour that sidewall aggressively. I mean genuinely lean into it. The goal is to dismantle months of caked silicone. Hose it down. Now run the test, spray water across the sidewall. If it gathers into little beads, coating still clings there, so scrub once more. What you want is for the water to spread in an even sheet across the rubber, as if it were untreated. That tells you the silicone is finally gone. On tires that have been dressed heavily for years, expect to repeat this 2 or 3 rounds. It is dull work, but it has to be done. With the tires clean, allow them to dry all the way, not damp, not nearly dry, but bone dry. Any leftover moisture will thin the glycerin and cut its absorption. Allow 30 minutes under the sun or an hour in shade. Now you are set. Pick up pure vegetable glycerin, sold at any drugstore, Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, or online through Amazon. Look for a label reading 100% glycerin or pure vegetable glycerin. A bottle generally runs $2 to $4 for 8 ounces, and a single one lasts months. Here is the blend. Equal parts glycerin and distilled water. Not tap water, distilled. The minerals in tap can leave a chalky white film on the rubber. Pour it into a spray bottle and shake thoroughly. Glycerin is syrupy, so give it a minute to combine. Then lightly mist the sidewall until it reads evenly damp. Do not drench it, just a thin, uniform layer. And this is the make or break moment. Let it rest for 10 to 15 minutes. That marks the soaking stage. You will literally watch the tire deepen in color as the glycerin draws into the rubber. Wipe too soon and you rob it of its working time. This is no surface coat. It is a treatment, so let it sink in. Once those 10 to 15 minutes pass, Grab a foam applicator or a clean microfiber cloth and gently massage the glycerin into the sidewall in small circles. You are coaxing it deeper and spreading it out. Follow with a dry microfiber towel to lightly wipe away whatever is left over. Drag a finger across the rubber afterward. It ought to feel dry. Not oily, not slippery, not sticky, just smooth, natural rubber. And the shade is a deep, full satin black. It resembles a fresh tire rolled straight off the assembly line. No phony gloss, no soaking shine, just healthy, conditioned rubber. Here is the part that stuns people. This holds for weeks, not days. Weeks, since it isn't perched on the rubber waiting to rinse off. It sits lodged inside it. I have run it through downpours, through car washes, through 100-degree summer afternoons. It holds. And when it finally begins easing off after 3 or 4 weeks, it does not end up looking worse than before. It simply drifts back to its natural look. You refresh it whenever you like, not because it failed and left your tires looking wrecked. Let us get into cost, because this is where it borders on ridiculous. Wash your car twice a month with a typical $15 bottle of Shine and you get maybe 4 uses out of it. That is somewhere around $90 to $100 a year on dressing alone, and only if you stick to upkeep coats. Chase that wet look every single week and the figure climbs much higher. By contrast, a $4 bottle of glycerin cut 1-to-1 with distilled water yields 8 to 10 full treatments. Treat your tires monthly, and you are looking at maybe $15 across the whole year. The bigger payoff, though, is not the savings. It is the rubber's long-term well-being. The U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association has put out guidance on heading off premature tire aging from environmental wear. Their advice is to steer clear of petroleum-based dressings that can break rubber down over time. Condition it, don't coat it. That is glycerin in a sentence. It reinforces the tire's own defenses rather than working against them. You are cooperating with the chemistry the tire was built around instead of sabotaging it. Let me take on the doubters now, because I know the question coming. If this is so wonderful, why do tire makers not endorse it? They do, just indirectly. Read the care sheet tucked in with premium tires, and you will find explicit warnings against solvent-based dressings alongside a recommendation for mild soap and water. They would rather you skip harsh chemicals, but they cannot point you toward pharmacy glycerin because that is not their line of work. They build tires, not aftercare products. So they keep it fuzzy, mild cleaners, avoid petroleum, keep things simple. That is shorthand for skip what everyone else is slathering on. Let me be blunt about what glycerin is not. It is no miracle. It will not revive a tire that is already compromised down to its structure. If you are dealing with deep cracking, dry rot, or a wrecked sidewall, replace it, full stop. This is upkeep, not a fix. Glycerin helps protect rubber that is still sound. It eases the pace of aging and keeps the sidewall supple and guarded. But once a tire is finished, no amount of conditioning resurrects it. Safety comes first, every time. And if you are devoted to that ultra-glossy, dripping show car shine, glycerin will not deliver it. This is for the person who wants tires that read clean, natural, and expensive without begging for a second look. Here is what I am asking you to try. Treat a single tire, just one. Leave the remaining 3 untouched. Apply the glycerin exactly as I described. Wait a week. Wash the car. Then inspect all 4. Set the treated tire against the other 3 and compare the color, the texture, the way water rolls off, the look in full sun. Then make your own call. I have run this little experiment dozens of times on friends, relatives, and detailing customers, and every time they are asking me for the glycerin bottle before I head out the door, because the gap is impossible to miss. Now, a few practical pointers I have picked up over years of doing this. First, in a humid region, you can run a slightly leaner blend. Around 3 measures of glycerin to 4 of water, the moisture already in the air keeps the glycerin working longer. In a bone-dry place like Arizona or Nevada, Hold the 1-to-1 ratio or even tip it stronger. Tobacco roughly 2 measures of glycerin to 1 of water. Since the parched air keeps trying to wick moisture from the rubber, and the added glycerin pushes back. Second, never apply glycerin in direct sun on a hot day. The heat boils it off before it can soak in. Work in the shade or in the evening once the tires have cooled. Third, if you rack up plenty of highway miles, refresh it every 3 weeks rather than monthly. Since the relentless heat cycling in ultraviolet at speed speeds up aging, so a touch more frequency pays off. Fourth, this treats any rubber at all. Trim panels, door seals, wiper blades, you name it. Same routine, same payoff. The wildest piece of all is that glycerin has been parked on pharmacy shelves the entire time. People have used it for centuries. The science is in print. The chemistry checks out. Yet the tire care business has spent decades persuading us we need their proprietary blends, $12 aerosol cans stamped with labels like Extreme Wet Shine or Ultimate Black Gloss. Meanwhile, the real answer runs $3 and does not even carry a brand. It is just glycerin. Plain, nameless, and it works. So the next time you find yourself in the auto parts store staring down a wall of shine, every can vowing instant results and lasting protection, ask one question. Do you want a gloss that survives 2 days or rubber that stays healthy for 2 years? You cannot have both. The chemistry refuses to bend that way. Either you strip then coat, or you nourish and shield. One path enriches the manufacturer. The other makes your tires go the distance. If this just spared you $100 a year or added months to your rubber, pass it along to whoever in your life is obsessed with their car. Because hardly anyone realizes that brown film isn't failure, it's the tire shielding itself. And every so often the best answer is not in the auto aisle at all. It is over in the pharmacy. Give it one shot, set it side by side, and decide for yourself. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.